Hey guys, welcome to my first video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a super quick, easy, and delicious steak, Hasselback potato, and roasted asparagus dinner. It took about 30 to 45 minutes, but let's jump right in. So Hasselback potatoes, you can use any type of potato you want. I normally use russet potatoes, but they're so thick and they take forever and a day to roast in the oven. So I've been playing around with like different recipes for Hasselback potatoes, and Yukon Gold honestly roasts the best. It's the most tender and it doesn't take that long to cook, and you could cook it on 450 without it like scorching and burning at the top basically. So a lot of people don't know what Hasselback potatoes are, or they get intimidated when they see Hasselback potatoes, but all a Hasselback potato is a potato with slits rather, cut into the potato, and it's seasoned or topped however you wish. So these are the size slits I always put in my potato. You can make them thicker, but I don't like it. So in this bowl, I have 3 tablespoons of butter, some minced garlic, thyme, and rosemary. What you're going to do is you're going to brush the exterior of the potato. So Hasselback potatoes kind of remind me of blooming onions, because you know when a blooming onion cooks, it opens up. When you put the Hasselback potato in the oven, and it's roasting, it starts to open up, and then you go back and you put more sauce or butter or whatever you're using to coat the potato on the potato as it bakes, and it gets down into those slits and just makes an awesome mouth experience. That sounded terrible, but we're going to stick with it. I'm not going to edit that out. So I'm going in and just finishing brushing the butter mixture on my potatoes. Now I'm moving on to the asparagus. Everything that I have has already been pre-washed, including the meat, because we wash meat in this house. But anyways, I'm going to go in with some extra virgin olive oil, drizzle some on, and then I have some sea salt and black ground pepper. I'm going to take 2 pinches, which is equivalent to about maybe a teaspoon, less than a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon. And then I'm going to go in and hand toss the asparagus. My hands are washed and I'm cooking for me and my kids, so don't come for me. And you want to lay the asparagus out flat because we're going to roast it, and you don't need everything bunched on top of each other. We want this to cook nicely. We want this to cook evenly. And I am putting it in a 450-degree oven as well. But I'm going to take it out after 15 minutes. So on the plate, I have my steaks. I wash my steaks and I pat them dry. You want to use room temperature steaks because it gives it more of an even cook, or it cooks more evenly. There we go. In this first bowl, I have fine onion powder and granulated garlic. In that bowl, I have restaurant ground black pepper, my choice of seasoning salt, and some paprika. Yeah, I think it was paprika. So I'm using a cast iron skillet. I love using cast iron because cast iron holds heat. It's really good at holding heat, so you get an even cook throughout, no matter whatever you're cooking. Like, I just love cast iron, and this particular cast iron pan I have has grill lines in it, so it gives your steak a restaurant quality look, I guess. Like, I love seeing steaks with grill marks. It's just so nice. Like, I'm huge on presentation. So I'm going in and seasoning both sides of the steak, and I did make a mistake that I shouldn't have, but I was rushing because it was like 8 o'clock at night and my kids were hungry. We just got out of the hospital. That's a different story though. But you want to be careful when you're seasoning. If you over season the steak, especially using the cast iron skillet, you have to have the heat really high in order to get a good sear on the steak. But if it's over seasoned, it can actually burn, and that's kind of what happened to one of my little medallions that you'll see in a minute. And it's all right, it's okay. Oh, the cut of steak I'm using is the KC strip, which is the long one at the top. That one's for me. And then I had 2 top sirloin steaks that I made for the kids, but they were so thick, and I cooked theirs medium well to well done. So I wanted it to make sure that it cooked through. So I just sliced them in half, and I did remove the bacon that was on it. Right now, what you see me doing is being extra and sopping up the seasoning on every side of the steak because I'm extra, but whatever. And then as you see, I have the cast iron skillet I was talking to you about, and you want to oil it first of all and let it get smoky before you put your steak inside of the pan. Not like so smoky to where your whole house is smoked out, but use some oil that has a very high smoke point. As you can see on my counter, I have canola oil that I use to oil the bottom of my pan, and I just went ahead and put the steaks down in it once the pan started to smoke a little bit. And then it's just a waiting game. You leave it cooking on one side for a minute and a half to about 2 minutes, and then you're gonna go ahead and flip the steaks, and you're gonna see what I was saying when I was telling you don't get like too seasoning happy with the steak, because you don't want it to burn, especially with like a cast iron skillet. Like, oh my god, they get so hot, so hot. But let me stop rambling. Let's just wait, and you'll see my little burnt piece of steak. It was so good, y'all. So I go ahead and turn it, and you see it's a little crusty. Try to flick it just a little bit. That one came out pretty. That one came out nice. And she came out a little burnt too, but you know, it was okay. In the end, it was okay. So go ahead, flip it, let them cook for an additional 1.5 to 2 minutes on the other side. But now we're gonna add some butter, because why not? Butter is amazing on steaks. And I wasn't heavy with the salt. I didn't use like garlic salt and onion salt. I used garlic and onion powder, and I used a little bit of seasoning salt. So the butter has salt in it as well, and it just adds a dimension of flavor to the steaks that I just can't describe. And I went in with some fresh rosemary, and I just laid a sprig on the top while I got everything in position, and tried to move the butter down throughout the grill lines. That way everything was coated underneath the steaks, so the steaks wouldn't come out looking like the Bride of Chucky on the other side. Then I went ahead and placed the rosemary underneath the steak, just so everything could kind of get like the aromatic flavor, if that makes sense. And I did turn the heat down, and I let the steaks rest for just a little bit in the pan, and then I moved it off of the heat, as you're going to see. I feel like I'm a little ahead of myself, but forgive me, this is my first video and voiceover, so we'll get better, you guys. But I let it rest on top with the steaks on top of the rosemary, and I put the rosemary underneath. That way the butter can kind of like marry with the rosemary. That way I didn't have like a raw sprig of rosemary for plating, because I don't like that. We don't like that. And here's me being extra like plating. I'm letting it actually rest, but the steak just was looking so good. I ended up doing like a little photo op after I took the steaks off, all the steaks out, just so you guys could see how pretty it was. And here's me being extra, giving you guys like a little food strip tease, you know. I went back to the Hasselback potatoes. This is what they look like when they're done and roasted to beautiful perfection. And over time, like, I was putting the butter, brushing the butter in it. Everything that was in the bowl got used, the whole butter mixture. And I was feeling a little snazzy, so I went ahead and put some Parmesan cheese on top and put them back inside the oven, and also topped it with a little bit of parsley. But this is what everything was looking like before I plated it, and this is what it looked like when it was done, you guys. It looked good, and it was good. And I was extra, and I had some crab legs, so I went ahead and cooked those bad boys up, and was like, why not be extra and make some clickbait? I'm just kidding. It was kind of an afterthought with the crab, but maybe I will do a video with the crab. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.